understand that was in jest, and I'm going to stop trying to be funny. That's my. I'm going to stop trying to be funny. Um,
Yeah, that's a good idea, Coach. Welcome to Altitude Football with Chad Brown and DMac, and the combine is here, Chad. How exciting! How exciting! Do you remember your combine?
Of course I do. I remember
Talk
the
to us.
nerves. I remember the whole experience, how stressful it was.
Yeah,
I remember the advice of my agent, our friend Peter Schaefer,
that's right.
told me to walk around with a book in my hand to make everyone think I was smart.
That's great. What book?
Um,
Football is for Dummies?
no, I grabbed a book before I got on the plane and went out there. I didn't have a lot of money as a student, so I'd imagine it was some class book. But I walked around with my
that's
thumb in
hysterical.
the pages, trying to act like I was reading something.
That is great.
Yes,
That is hysterical. Oh, I wish you remembered what the book was. That would be
I
so
wish
funny.
I wish I did too. Actually,
Oh
yes.
my God. I mean, had you read any of that book?
Yes, considering it was a book for class, more than likely I had read at
Okay.
least some of it. But of all the books I could grab, I would assume I grabbed something I actually thought was interesting in case I was forced to read it or someone asked me a question about
I
the
was
book.
just going to say, because interviews are the first part of the combine. What if a team had just said, "Oh, I see you're carrying around a book. Tell me about it."
I set the book down next to me. I walked in with the book in hand. I don't recall anyone asking me specifically about the book.
Oh, God.
Gosh, I wish I could. Hopefully, by the time we get together later this week, maybe I'll have recalled what that
Okay.
book was, and I can give a
Okay.
little bit more detail.
What advice? It's funny. I know some of the other clients of Peter Schaefer, and I'm wondering what Pac-Man Jones, what book he would have had, if he was walking around, because I'm sure you're not the only one he gave advice to. But
He
gosh,
told me the
that's-
same thing on all my visits to the individual teams before the draft.
yeah.
Make sure
Yeah.
when you get off the plane, you have that book in your hand.
Oh my God. I wonder if Alfred had a hard time picking out which coloring book to take. Bada bing, bada boom,
Oh,
bada boom.
yes, we'll be here all week. I know.
Yeah,
Tip
bada
the
bing.
waitress.
All right, so you're nervous and blah 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 blah, and tell us more. Tell what do you think the biggest difference was? Well, all right, so it is. I assume it was around the same time, late February, when the combine was when you were there. So,
Yes.
what was your life like between your last football responsibilities at CU and the combine? Because you weren't going to class, I would assume. I don't think most of these guys are still students at this point. I think they're just training for being a pro athlete.
Carl Sagan, Cosmos was the book.
Get out of here!
Yes.
How did you just remember that?
Because I remembered the cover of the
That's
book
a
in
very famous book, by the way. Very famous.
1980. Yes, it was out for quite a while before I actually picked it up. But when I was in 1980, I was 10. But I remember my Uncle Wes, who I had a lot of admiration for, reading that when I was younger. And I thought, oh, one day I'm going to read that book so I can be cool like Uncle Wes. So that's how
great.
that all happened. Yes.
That is absolutely fantastic. All right, so yeah, what had you been working on? What do you think these guys have been working on since football ended, and here we are this week?
They're 40 time. It's the dash for the cash. The dash for the cash. I remember, maybe it was Jesse Armstead, ended up playing a long time with the New York Jets, part of 3 University of Miami linebackers who were drafted that year. Jesse Armstead, Darren Smith, and I'm spacing on the other guy's name. But at any rate, right as he walked up before me, because he was in alphabetical order, he said, "All right, man, dash for the cash." And I think he ran like a 4.6, and I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna get way more cash than I get because there's no way I'm running that fast."
Too funny.
Yeah. That was low 4.8s. Although at CU I had timed, in the high 4.5s, low 4.6s before. So it's not I didn't see that as an applicable drill, so I did not give it the importance that I should have.
Yeah.
And back then, combine training was in its infancy.
Right.
Peter Schaefer, who again, he's my agent, our friend at this point in life, He hired a friend who was on his lacrosse team to train us. So he didn't hire somebody with a track background, or
Oh, that's too
there was
funny.
no guys who had said, I've got 15 years of training combine guys on my resume. He hired his lacrosse buddy.
That's
so
funny.
we did weird lacrosse workouts and actually got slower in the time for the 40 from when I started training with him until I ended my training with him.
Hey, Peter, I appreciate and love you, but do you think I really should be running the 40 with a stick in my hands? All right. Hindsight being 2020, obviously. Do you think you could have, if you trained the right way, got a 4.8 down to a 4.6 in 6 weeks' time?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
So, yeah.
Because to do 2/10 like that, it's just mechanics. Your leg turnover is what it's going to be based on your own anatomy and physiology and fast twitch muscle fibers. But your ability to execute the start, keep your head down, don't pop up on the start. Slowly increase your lean as you're going through the 40. Those are all things that are pretty well versed now in combine training. So whether it's Lauren Landau or any other combine trainer around the country, they're going to walk you through those steps. After I has my Liz Frank injury, I went and trained with Lauren Landau, and I spent the offseason trying to get faster. And after recovering from the Liz Frank injury and going into the offseason, I was faster at the end of the offseason than I was at the beginning. At this point, I was 34 years old. So I can only imagine what I would have been able to accomplish at 21 years old.
Yeah. And I do wonder, and we appreciate people jumping on the chat. Good evening to you. Thank you for being with. You can feel free to throw any comments here. We need to draft Jacob Rodriguez. It's time. Oh man, I'm not familiar with Jacob Rodriguez. But
What?
Oh,
You don't know him?
I'm just getting into it. Don't judge me. Help me out. Coach me. Don't yell at me. Who's Jacob Rodriguez?
Jacob Rodriguez, off the ball linebacker for Texas Tech. And while he's not going to wow you with his numbers,
Inside or outside? Inside or outside linebacker?
Inside.
Inside linebacker. I know CJ Hall from Georgia.
Okay.
So
he's a good player as well.
Okay. So
and CJ Hall.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
CJ Hall is going to wow you with his combine stats. No doubt about that. He's going to win the underwear Olympics against Jacob Rodriguez. But I had an opportunity at the Super Bowl. How many? 3, 4, 5. I talked to 5 linebacker coaches when I was there. And they all mentioned something I had never thought of before from a linebacker perspective. Ball production. If you're an outside linebacker, it's all about sacks. If you're an inside linebacker, it's all about ball production. He's like, I don't care if you got 150 tackles. Tell me about your ball production, which is a short phrase to encompass forced fumbles, recovered fumbles, tip balls, forced interceptions, maybe because you're great in coverage, or interceptions of your own. So from an inside linebacker perspective, and one of the guys who mentioned this the most was the linebacker coach for the San Francisco 49ers, who coaches Fred Warner. And Fred Warner is definitely at the tops of the league in ball production. Because, your job along the way is to make some tackles. We expect you to do that. But if you do ball production, if you steal the ball back and give it to our offense, or you force someone else to get a ball, and you do that 5 to 6 times a year, that's going to be probably 3 more wins. So ball production is highly coveted. And Jacob Rodriguez, I don't think there's a more ball productive linebacker in college football this past season.
First round pick value?
He's probably going to go second or third just because of the lack of combine numbers. And I think there's some doubt whether he'll be able to make the transition, and he's definitely not going to fit in everybody's defense. He's going to need some defense where they got some horses up front, where his 1 or 2 tenths slower 40 and 1 or 2 tenths slower pro shuttle drill won't come into play as much as for a guy who's quicker and smaller and lighter.
This question, Broncos spend money for a tight end or draft a tight end? Well, let me give you this, Chad, on the tight end stuff. And thank you for the questions. That's fantastic. And here we go. We'll throw this in here. Wyoming has a tight end in the combine who could be a late pick. John Michael Gillenborg. Well, we have a tight end from Utah, something or other. Caleb Longer, whatever, who was a basketball player. So we already kind of have a tall late round draft pick at tight end. But let me give you this, Chad. So ESPN was talking about best available free agents at several different positions. And they did it in 4 tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are free agents. Tier number 1 is Kyle Pitts. Okay, so that's tier number 1. Tell me when I name somebody you're interested in. Tier 2 is Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, and Cade Otton from the Buccaneers. I'm sorry, that's tier 3. They say there's nobody in tier 2, and that's it. So they literally just list 4 tight ends in free agency that are interesting at all.
No Njoku not listed there.
I don't put him in there for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I know he said his goodbyes in Cleveland, so I have to assume he's going to be on the list. But anyway, yeah, it's not a great free agent tight end class, and I think it speaks to tight ends being more valued in the last year or two than they were in the previous 5 or 7 years. And so the success of the Rams, multiple tight end sets, the success of the Seahawks, Super Bowl winners, multiple tight end sets, I think that's making teams look at their tight end position a little bit more in depth and trying to figure out how to keep guys. Goddard is not really tight end. He's a glorified receiver. He's not going to get his nose dirty and block. Yeah. Travis Kelce, he's too old. Who else was on that list?
Cade Otton from the Otton. Cade Otton from the Buccaneers.
Otton from the Buccaneers, yep. And who was tier 1?
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and he's a glorified receiver as well. So none of these guys have what the Rams and Seahawks valued so much is we can put these guys on the field and you as a defense don't know whether it's going to be run or pass.
Yeah.
You put Kyle Pitts on the field, no one's going to expect you to run the ball behind him. You put Dallas Goedert on the field, no one's going to expect you to run the ball behind him. No one runs behind Travis Kelce anymore either. Those days are gone. So it's
not a good year, yeah. And you know what? I haven't seen any real super quality tight ends in the draft this year either. I heard that was kind of weak. And the year to get tight ends, Chad, was last year. There were like 4 or 5 of them that would have been just fine. Mm-hmm. And obviously you had Loveland and Tyler Warren in the first round.
Both awesome for their teams.
And then you had a bunch of other guys after that, including our dudes from Heritage High School and from Creek. But you know, it didn't go that way for the Broncos. I think the Broncos had a terrible draft, in all honesty. I just think, first of all, your first round. Barron? I think that was a terrible first round pick. I don't even care if he works out in the future. I don't want developmental guys, Chad, in the first round. I want impact guys in the first round. And I want starters in the first round. Frankly, I want a starter, instant starter in the first round. And I want rounds 2 and 3 to be contributors with really good opportunity. 4th, 5th round, I want what they got in the 4th and 5th round with Q Robinson and Savion Jones. That's like, okay, cool. I'm fine with that. You know, that's developmental. And 6th and 7th round, I mean, I'm kind of like, cool. I mean, you got a punter. He was he was the best draft pick you got because the guy was actually really, really good and you got him in a reasonable place. So, and then you got Caleb Loner, which was a whole bunch of nothing except for tall. You can get cookies off the top shelf, I guess. And they liked him because they added him to the roster to give him a little cashola, a little bonus bump at the end of the season, but they didn't use him. But I really don't care about 7th round picks, Chad. 7th round picks and guys with high signing bonuses as undrafted free agents are all the same to me. It doesn't really matter to me. So, Frank Crum, who's catching touchdowns for the Broncos, was an undrafted guy out of Wyoming. So that's cool. That's fine. But I need my first round guy, Chad. Whatever you do, if you got a first round guy, in my opinion, in this day and age, that dude's got to be a starter on your team.
I'm looking at the draft picks behind the Broncos. And Carson Schlesinger for Cleveland, inside linebacker, ended up being, I think, defensive rookie of the year, or was definitely in the running. He was awesome and fantastic. Nick Emanwari for Seattle, he was awesome as well. Really great fit for their defense. safety, corner, LB. VJ doesn't quite have that need for that guy,
No,
but I see more and more the league moving to that.
Yeah.
James Pierce, defensive end, went to Atlanta. Obviously, just got in trouble a couple of weeks ago, but he put up 10.5 sacks, so he was an instant production guy. Once you start getting down that list, who else would have added? What would you have gone running back?
Amarian, yeah, of course.
Marion Hampton, Travion Henderson, someone like that.
Judkins.
Quishon Junkins.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and yes. But instead, we went for RJ Harvey as an undersized guy that, they traded back and then they traded up, and you could have just waited on, frankly, to the third round. But then you wanted to get Pat Bryant, who, again, you probably overdrafted. He probably wasn't going to go to the fourth round, but you really, really liked him. And then you turn around, you're like, wow, that was our first three. And RJ, hey, listen, I got no beefs with RJ, but he ain't the guy. And the number one thing you have to do, in my opinion, in free agency, Chad, is a running back. I think that is your number one priority. And frankly, I think you got to draft one. I think you got to do both. Jaquan McMillan and Bidet, they're limited. Let's be honest, right? And they're just the same thing as RJ Harvey at the end of the day. And actually, RJ Harvey's better than those guys, in my opinion. So I need a running back that's going to give me something else. So I need somebody to draft, and I need a free agent. I got the list of free agent running backs too. You want me to go through those for you a little bit and see what you think? Before
you do that, Harold Fanning, 3rd round pick, tight end, went to Cleveland. Cleveland's rookie class last year was off the charts. And this guy put up 731 yards, 72 receptions. He would have been a great value addition to the Broncos tight end room.
Remember the name Caleb Downs, finished at Ohio State, started freshman year at Alabama, the tackles as a freshman, same as team. All right.
Yeah, he's not going to be available when the Broncos are picking. He's not going to be available. He's top 5, at least top 7.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a linebacker like or CJ Hall, or I could totally be sold. By the way, I don't need an offensive player at 30. It's okay. I don't love trading out of the first round, but I mean, you're at 30, Chad. I kind of get it. If you can pick up value as long as you're smart. So it's one of those weird places to draft, anyways. I'm not, and I don't hold the Broncos accountable for moving up much. It just is what it is. You're a victim of your own success. But we had Jeff Legwold on, and one of the things Leggy told to us in terms of money, here's how Leggy put it. The Broncos have enough money to do whatever they want to do. And instead of hemming and hawing about this and restructure that, I like what Leggy said. I'm just going to roll with that. It's a lot easier too, by the way. It makes my brain not hurt as much. The Broncos that hasn't been the case though in the past couple of years because of the Russell Wilson deal. But now, Chad, they have enough money to do whatever they want. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about it in terms of running backs, right? In terms of this listing, the tier 1 running back is nobody. They say there's nobody like Saquon Barkley available, period. Would you agree with that? There's just nobody out there that's like that.
100% agree with that. Yes.
Okay. Tier 2 Pro Bowl caliber starter, Breece Hall, and he's in there by himself. Is Breece Hall unique?
Breece Hall is pretty special. Yes. He was special in college and he is special in the NFL. Yeah.
Do you know what the tag is for running backs? It's the lowest of all position players aside from punters and kickers. Do you know what it is?
14?
That's right. Very good. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So for 3 years, I don't know. What do you want to do? 3 years, 30 million with 22 guaranteed. You get yourself Breece Hall. What do you think?
Yeah, you got money. Breece Hall is certainly young enough, 25 years old. I'm seeing comps for him 4 years, 50 plus.
Oh, so, all right. Okay.
But of course, you can structure the contract and it's funny money. You can look backloaded on the back end where you're not going to be in a bad dead cap situation like you were with Russell Wilson. And this is not amongst the contracts. This would not be a massive one because it's for a running back.
Yeah. Well, by the way, that's basically the same as my offer. It's just more years and it's 10 million, not 12 million, but whatever. I mean, we're talking the same business here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Tier 3 capable stars. Let me know what you think about these guys. Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker. They only have 2. And I think Kenneth Walker is going to be impossible because I think he's just going to stay with the Seahawks or they're going to tag him. But tagging him will cost him $14 million. And the problem that the Seahawks have is like every single one of their free agents is like freaking awesome. Like it's not like the Broncos. The Broncos have one high-priced free agent. That's Franklin Myers. That's it. The next guy after Franklin Myers is J.K. Dobbins, who you're going to find in the discount bin for running backs. But you got ATN and Kenneth Walker. Talk to me about either one of those guys.
I like ATN from a receiving standpoint. Kenneth Walker, I don't think he's going back to Seattle. Seattle is firmly in the Kubiak run style, which means we can plug in anybody here and be successful. Kenneth Walker wasn't really the starter. He shared the backfield with Charbonnet until Charbonnet went down with the ACL injury. So Kenneth Walker, although he splashed and played great in the Super Bowl, I don't think he has the same value to me in my mind as Travis Etienne. He'll probably get something more contractually just because of the playoff run that he had. Mm-hmm. But Etienne, if I'm dialing up my offense, I want a guy who's better in the receiving game than Walker is.
All right. Then we have tier 4, borderline starters, high-end backups. Here we go. Got a bunch here. Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Gainwell, Brian Robinson Jr., Rashad White. Cap casualties, potentially, are James Conner and Aaron Jones Sr. A lot of names there. What stands out to you? What guys may you be interested in?
I like James Conner.
These are guys you could. This is the pool, by the way, the easiest pool to get. This is where the Broncos could compete with anybody.
Yeah, we're talking, 1 year, $3 million, 2 year, $7 million kind of thing. Yeah. So go with James Conner, who's proven himself to be incredibly tough. Outside of this year, incredibly durable, fought back from cancer, gets tough yards, is not a diva, selfish me guy, played in freaking Arizona and was kind of the inspirational leader of that football team. But he would be part of the stable in my running back room. He wouldn't be the guy because none of those guys are really capable of being the guy.
So anybody strike your fancy? Like that's the guy right there. How about what's funny that J.K. Dobbins is like lumped in there with Rico Dowdle. Like, okay. I don't know. To me, Dobbins is just too hurt, Chad. He's just always injured.
What's your greatest ability? It's your availability as an NFL player. And J.K. Dobbins has proven that he's not going to be consistently available. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's not tough. I'm not saying that he lacks heart. Just some guys just unfortunately are not just built to be in this game long term.
Yeah. I'm looking at my favorite website for the draft, by the way, which is NFL mockdraftdatabase.com. This website is freaking amazing. And golly, this would be awesome if this could happen, in my opinion. The most favored projected player to the Broncos at 30 right now is Kenyon Sadiq. How great would that be? Holy cow. Oh, my God. I'd be doing a happy dance there if he actually fell to the Broncos. And after that is C.J. Allen, then Anthony Hill Jr. and Lee Hunter, and it gets a little squirrely after that. The Broncos have 30th pick, 62, 94, 108, 130, 168, 247, and 255 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks right now. It won't turn out that way. I guarantee it. There'll be some movement one way or the other. And we love Kenyon. Well, I love Kenyon Sadiq. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that answers your tight end question right there. That's your joker. That's your tight end. That's your guy right there.
Part of a room. I don't see him as, again, not that kind of guy.
You don't like him?
I'm not saying I don't like him. I just don't see him being that kind of guy. Is he? Again, we've been lucky enough as Bronco fans to have witnessed some of the greatest tight ends to ever play the position. We got 3 Hall of Famers just in recent memory, and one of them still playing. Travis Kelce, Antonio Gates, and Tony Gonzalez. So those are guys. And the Broncos got their own Hall of Fame tight end, Shannon Sharp. So when you're talking about guys who are nightmares for defenses, guys who change the game, guys who are so good that that they open up things for other players. I'm not seeing Sadiq on that level.
All right, we will come back and give you what the Broncos should be looking for in the combine in just a second. First, this from our great friends at Journey Spice.
There's a world of flavor out there, and to find it, you have to take the journey. Journey Spice Company handcrafts the most premium spice and seasoning blends that have no sugar, no salt, are certified USDA organic, non-GMO, vegan-friendly, and always planet-friendly. You are going to love serving amazingly delicious creations while knowing you helped reduce single-use plastics. Make sure to search for Journey Spice Company on Amazon today.
Love your Journey Spice, and you can use this QR code and save yourself 10% using the code 2026 playoffs. Whatever the meal is, it goes better with Journey Spice. What are you cooking up tonight, Chad?
There were some carrots roasting when I came upstairs to do the show. I think it's going to be a carrot tomato soup, going with some homemade salmon sashimi that I hooked up a little bit earlier. So yes, it'll be a nice orangish, reddish hued dinner tonight at the Brown house.
Well, whether you're an expert chef like Chad and things out days in advance, or you're just grabbing something from the freezer like me, and who am I joking? I'm just watching my wife grab something from the freezer. Nothing does it better than Journey Spice. So again, save yourself some cash and use this code, and you'll appreciate it. Thank you, Journey Spice. Love these guys.
Oh, sorry,
all right,
Journey
Chad.
Spice. Za'atar going in the carrot and tomato soup. My bad. Yes.
Nice. All right, you got the Za'atar. Hold on.
Yeah. Yes.
I got something. Everything. Do I got the Za'atar? I got the Za'atar.
You do.
I got it right there. Bam.
Boom. Yes.
And there it is. The friggin' Za'atar.
It's one of my
All
favorites.
right. What should the Broncos be looking for? And when I say this, and tomorrow, by the way, Sean Payton will speak. So when we're back Thursday at 6:00 for Altitude Football with Chad Brown and DMac, we'll be able to reflect not only on what Sean Payton said, but what George Payton says, and he says nothing. Sean Payton, you never know what he's going to say. And I'm looking forward to it because he'll certainly be asked about play calling with Davis Webb. And I think he'll be asked about, speaking out about Bo and his fragile, milky, soft ankles. So we'll see, but we'll have that to talk about on Thursday, plus some of the beginning stages of the combine to go over. But I think the combine, it's already a legendary event, period, the end. But last year's combine and the poor performance of Shedeur Sanders with the things in the combine, I think is going to go down as a thing of legend, Chad, because it took a presumptive first-round guy down to the 5th round. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it, ever. And from what I understand and what we get, it was basically because of a poor off the field, and he didn't throw at the combine either. That could have been part of it. But it was the way Shedeur Sanders handled the combine, from what we understand, whether that's fair or not. So that being said, what do you think the Broncos and other teams are looking for during this week?
There's a great article on The Athletic where John Snyder, GM of Seattle, talks about his best combine interview ever. So I think you want to show up and you want to be confident. People, as a player, confidence is such an important part of your game. Show up, believe in yourself, not cocky, not full of swagger, but confident. You want to be team focused. So this interview process, because they can watch the tape, they know what kind of player you are, but they're also interested in what kind of human being are you? How are you going to fit into our locker room? How are you going to handle things if you've never had to compete for a starting job before? Are you going to get down in the dumps if you have a bad game? How quickly do you bounce back? As a college cornerback and you're one of the drafted in the 1st round, you probably weren't beat very much. You're going to get roasted your rookie year. You're going to get toasted all the time. So what's your football passion? What's your football IQ? What's your ability to come back from tough times? They want to know all of that. So that's what these teams are looking for. But in the end, what drives all this, of course, is they got holes in their roster, and they want to know, can you be the guy to help us? And clearly, lots of teams looked at Shedeur and thought, that dude can't help us at all. He's going to tear apart our locker room, not keep it together. So don't be this year's Shedeur or a decade plus ago Laramie Tonsil with the gas mask bong photo emerging on draft day. Don't be that guy.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Do you think Shadur did screw that up, and that's why what happened?
I think he was overvalued by the media in the process. So there was that. So expectations were unrealistic to begin with.
Gotcha.
But I certainly think the quarterback position demands so much of the person, not just the player. And clearly there were some doubts about that just because of some of the things that we see.
It's a quick break, but Chad, we're back into football. How great is that? One way or the other. Look at that. We're right back there.
I love it. Football never ends, man. We got a breather, and now we're back at it. This is free agency, and then the whole thing, private workouts, the draft,
all of it,
OTAs. Bring it on, man.
Bring it on. We love it all. Any thoughts about U.S. beating Canada in hockey? I know you're not Mr. Hockey guy, but, it's a big story, obviously. And before we leave, just any kind of overall thoughts?
I love it. I love the toughness of hockey dudes. I like the dude getting his teeth knocked out, doing interviews with a bloody mouth after the game. Obviously, as a kid, I was heavily into the 1980 Olympics with the Miracle on Ice. Of course, I've watched the movie a ton of times. So I went into this one looking forward to us trying to find a way to recapture that magic from 1980. And we were able to do it. To do it against Canada, also great. I love the whole thing. Too bad that the women aren't or did not get a real invitation to the White House. So I'll let those folks, whoever want to dive into that, do their own dive and look at whatever news source you want on that to tell you the story that you want to hear.
Right.
But also amazing job by our women as well. And then, as you pointed out, first African-American woman hockey gold medalist, Layla, a couple days ago. So awesome for her.
Yep.
Breaking ground, man. New pioneers.
Last thought, just as a competitor, Nathan McKinnon has to live with this forever. Devon Taves has to live for this moment forever. How do you do it, Chad? How do you have this wins the gold medal, this wins the gold medal? True story. If you're Nathan McKinnon and Taves right here, how do you live with that for the rest of your life? How do you put that in a box?
You can't. As a professional athlete, particularly guys who have reached the heights that they have reached, you remember the losses far more than you remember the wins. And those stick with you forever. Forever. I know the Super Bowl just passed. I know I tell the story all the time. But the week before the Super Bowl, NFL Network shows all the old Super Bowls, those little 30-minute condensed versions. And somewhere during the week, I catch my Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys when I was a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I sit down and I expect us to find a win. We always lose. We lose every single time, and I'm bummed out for like 4 or 5 hours after because I've won championships in Pop Warner, in high school, at Colorado. So I was expecting it to happen, and it didn't happen. It's just so crushing. So for those guys, they've got tens of millions in their bank account to make them smile. And they've got their own personal success as great hockey players. But when you have the moment and you're not good enough for the moment, it absolutely crushes you. So speaking of that, I'm getting things lined up with the Rocket for my podcast with the Rocket.
Come on.
He texted me back today. We got a conversation going. It's going to happen. I can't wait.
Wow. Well, I told you who you have to really get on though.
Right. So he's going to try to get in contact with that person as well.
Okay, because it's a Notre Dame, the guy who had the penalty on him.
Yes. Yes.
And that is, how do you live with it? Oh my God. If you get that guy, oh man. I did ask like Marty Natchez. I was in the Avs locker room yesterday, and he missed a breakaway goal that would have beat Canada. And it was like, that was a surreal moment for me yesterday, Chad. I'm talking to this guy, Marty Natchez from Czechia and an Avalanche. And I'm realizing as I'm talking to him, if he buries that goal, we don't have what we had yesterday. Canada's not there. So we have this iconic, historic moment, but it's not as iconic. It's still great if the U.S. wins, but it's not nearly as iconic if Canada's not there in the first place. And it is weird to talk. And I said, how are you dealing with it? And he goes, it's tough. And of course I'm thinking about it. And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders and was like, it is what it is. But with the way he answered it, I felt like, I feel like sorry, because I'm like, well, you're never going to forget this. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but at least he's trying to put the right answer to it. But the truth of the matter is he'll remember it for the rest of his life, and he'll likely be reminded about it, as Nate will be reminded about things too, and Kale and Devon Taves. So fascinating stuff. Being an athlete, boy, pressure is a privilege. And if you can come through, it's something else, man. But if you don't, you still have to live with it. And perhaps do you remember your failures more or your successes more?
Failures, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But I'm going on the Steeler cruise, as you and I talked about a little bit last week. Yeah. And one of the cruisers will be Santonio Holmes.
Okay.
Who will forever be a part of Steeler lore for that catch in the back of the end zone.
That was unbelievable.
That Super Bowl against the Cardinals. He has managed to ride that. That is the defining moment of his career. And so that's what he is famous for, not for failures, not for almost being there, not for could have having to play. He is famous for that moment in time. So I'm looking forward to talking to him about that. That's your existence, not one of failure, not one of being close, but of, everything else in his career is lost to Steeler fans except for that one moment. So how awesome it is to have that.
Well, you'll always be remembered for being an all-time Bronco.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.